Welcome to game 13 of the Tom Seaver replay. Today, the New York Mets will host the Los Angeles Dodgers, and we're looking quickly at Seaver's numbers through 12 games. Records identical, 7-3. Innings pitched, close. Everything's pretty much right around where it was. Look at the Ks. But again, got a few more innings than what he had. Home runs around the same, and ERA right about the same. So it's going well. We're real happy. Just playing, playing the game itself. Just grab the dice here. Okay, so let's get started. Davey Lopes will be leading off for the Los Angeles Dodgers. We got a 3-4 versus a righty. That's a walk. See if Lopes can get the lead. 5, he does get the lead. Second, let me just grab this. Okay, so Lopes was held, so that's a -2. Seaver's -1, so that's -3. Duffy's -2, so that's -5 on a 17. So 1 to 12, he's safe. Excuse me. 12 makes it. Okay, stolen base for Lopes. Nothing there. Buckner's the batter. 5-5 versus a lefty. Struck him out. Willie Davis. 6-8 versus a lefty. Fly out to center field. And Joe Ferguson. 2-6 versus a righty. Look at that. Home run 1 to 13, double 14 to 20. That's gone. Home run Joe Ferguson. See what Ferguson had in 1973. 25 home runs, 263 with 88 RBIs for the catcher. So he gets a quick start for the Dodgers. They're up 2-0. Ferguson home run. 2-4, possible ballpark single chance. We are at Shea Stadium. Crawford's a lefty. So we have a 1 to 6. That's a line out. Line out to second base. Dodgers get up to a quick 2-0 lead. Mets have Garrett Meehan, and George Theodore. The pitcher on the mound today is Tommy John, who the Mets faced previously in this Tom Seaver replay. 1-7 versus a lefty. Fly out to center field. Felix Meehan's the batter. 6-7 versus a righty. Ground ball second base X. The second baseman is Lopes. He's a 3 E14. He gets there. A 9 on a 14. Makes the play. George Theodore is the batter. 110 versus a lefty, ground out to third. So Tommy John gets him down 1-2-3 here in the first. Seaver will be facing Ron Say, Von Joshua, and Bill Russell. Let's see what Say can do here. 210 versus a righty, single to center field. Von Joshua. 2-2 versus a righty, line out to second base, max outs. There we go. So line out to second baseman. He gets it back to first. Double play. Bill Russell. 1-4 versus a righty, line out to first. 1-2. Well, only faced 3 batters. Single by Say, but he was caught off first on a line out to Lopes. So Tommy John will be facing Staub, Fregosi, and John Milner. So we got a lefty-lefty matchup here. 3-3, ground out to shortstop. Jim Fregosi. 4-6 versus a righty. Ground out to short. John Milner. Lefty on lefty here. 1-5. Struck him out. So John goes 1-2-3 again in the first. Seaver will be facing Tommy John, and Lopes, and then Buckner. .510 versus a righty. John bats righty, fly out to center field. Lopes, who walked and stole last time at bat. 2-4 versus a righty, fly out to right. Bill Buckner. 5-8 versus a lefty, ground ball, second base X. The play is going to be on. He's a 2-10. He gets there and 10 out of 10 makes the play. So Seaver's calmed down somewhat after the Ferguson home run. Now the Mets have Dyer, Martinez, and Seaver. .110 versus a lefty. Ballpark single chance. Dyer is a righty, and it looks to be a hit. 1-11 for righty, so Dyer gets a single. Martinez is the batter. Nothing on the Haddock. Let's see what Ted Martinez can do here. 4-4 versus a righty. Fly ball center field X. The play is to Willie Davis. He's a 1E8. He makes the play. A 7 on an 8. He makes it. Let's see what Seaver can do here. Nothing on the Havoc. 111, ground out to the pitcher. A, so we got a double play. 1-6-3. Mets will have the top of the order. In the fourth, Seaver will be facing Willie Davis, Joe Ferguson, and Willie Crawford. see what Willie Davis can do here. Dodgers up 2-0. 5-8 versus a lefty. Ground ball second base X. The play is Mian. He's a 2E10. He gets there. A 12. An E10. Makes the play. Let's see what Joe Ferguson. As we know, he 2-run homer in the first inning by Ferguson. 1-4. Ground out to the second baseman, Mian. Willie Crawford. 2-4 versus a righty. That's a ballpark single chance, 16. He lines out to the second baseman. Mets are at the top of the order, so they'll have Wayne Garrett, Felix Mian, and George Theodore. 2-8 versus a lefty. Ooh, right in between it. Ground ball to the second baseman. Felix Mian. 1-3 versus a lefty. Ground out to the first baseman. George Theodore. 1-10 versus a lefty. Ground out to the third baseman. Tommy John pitching a great game here. The Dodgers will have Ron Cey, Von Joshua, and Bill Russell. .39 versus a righty. Pop out to second base. Von Joshua. 1-2 versus a righty. Fly out to center field. And Bill Russell. 4-11 versus a righty. That's a walk. Got Tommy John up with 2 outs. Nothing on the Havoc. 3-6 struck him out. Okay, we got Rusty Staub leading off for the Mets, followed by Fregosi and John Milner. .29 versus a lefty. Ground out to the first baseman. Jim Fregosi. 5-8 versus a righty. Look at that. There we go. Triple 1-3. Single 4-20. Single for Fregosi. Got Milner at bat, followed by Duffy Dyer. 2. So we got the Havoc roll here. So that's a potential balk or pass ball. 4. Pass ball check. The pass ball rating for Joe Ferguson is a 7. So anything 1 to 7 is a pass ball. 12, so no pass ball. Milner, lefty on lefty. 111, ground out to first base A. That's a double play. Plus injury, but we're not doing injuries because we're doing an as played. So John gets out of that inning. We go to the top of the 6th. Dodgers up 2-0 on the Ferguson home run in the first. Top of the order. Lopes, Buckner, and Willie Davis. 5-6 versus a righty. Struck him out. Bill Buckner's the batter. 4-7 versus a lefty. Single 1-5, line out to second base 6-20. 12, lines out to second base. Left-hander Willie Davis is at the plate. 4-9 versus a lefty. Walk. So we got a runner on first. 2 on the havoc roll. So that's a balk check. Seaver's a 0, so no balk. So we got Ferguson versus Seaver here. Let's see what we got. 5-10 versus a righty. Fly out to center field. Mets have Dyer, Martinez, and then Seaver. Four versus a righty. Fly ball center field X. That's to Willie Davis. He's a 1E8. Gets there. And a 9 on an 8. Makes the play. Ted Martinez. We got a 1-4 versus a lefty. Ground out to second base. Seaver will stay in there. 3-7, ground out to the second baseman. So 1, 2, 3 for the Mets. We go to the 7th with Crawford, Say, and Von Joshua. .410 versus a righty. Ballpark single chance. A 12. I think it's a 1-7. Let me double check. For righty, it's 1-11. It's a 12, so he lines out to shortstop. Oh, no, a lefty. He's a lefty. But anyways, a lefty's 1-6, and it was a 12, so. Ron Say. 6-3 versus a righty. Fly ball left field X. That's Theodore. He's a 3E6. He gets there. 14 on an E6. That's a two-base error. Two-base error by George Theodore. Now we got Von Joshua up. Runner on second. 1 out. 3-4 versus a righty. Ballpark versus a lefty. 3-4 is a ballpark single chance. He's a lefty. So that is a 1-2-6 single. No, so he lines out to the second baseman. We got Bill Russell, the batter. Nothing on the havoc. 3-9 versus a righty. That's a ground out to the third baseman. All right, so we're going to the bottom of the 7th with the top of the order. Garrett, Mian and Theodore. 3-7 versus a lefty. Single 1 to 11. 12. It's a line out to the first baseman. Felix Mian. 6-6 versus a righty. Ground out to the third baseman. George Theodore. 5-5 versus a righty. Struck him out. Top of the 8th. John's going to stay in the game, obviously. He's pitching shutout. 4-3 versus John Batch righty. It's a potential single on a 9. Single for a ballpark single is a 1 to 11 in Shea. So John gets a single. Davey Lopes. 1-7 versus a righty. Ground ball pitcher B. It's a fielder's choice. So we got a runner on first. Do we send Lopes? No, let's have him hit. Let's have Buckner hit. 1 out. 1-4 versus a righty. Ground ball pitcher B, another fielder's choice. So we got runner on first, 2 outs for Willie Davis. Nothing on the Havoc. 5-5 versus a lefty, struck him out. Go to the bottom of the 8th. Tommy John has a shutout still going. We got Staub, Fregosi, and Johnny Milner. Let's see if Staub can do anything. 6-9 versus a lefty, ground out to the second baseman. Jim Fregosi. 4-2 versus a righty, struck him out. Johnny Milner. 2-8 versus a lefty, double 1 to 3. 6, he flies out to center. So we're through 8, 2-0 Dodgers on a Ferguson home run. Tommy John has given up 2 hits, so he's throwing a 2-hitter. Got Seaver going to try to hold things together here in the 9th. Ferguson, Crawford, and Say. Let's see what he can do here. Three, 6, walk. Four, 6 versus a lefty. Double 1 to 4. Flies out to center field. Ron Say. Just a batter. Nothing on the Havoc. 6-7 versus a righty. Struck him out. Coming down to Von Joshua. See if he can do anything here. Nothing on the Havoc. 2-7 versus a righty. Struck him out. So Seaver doesn't give up anything other than that 2-run homer to Joe Ferguson. But we got Tommy John throwing a 2-hitter. And he will be facing Dyer, Martinez, and the pitcher spot. 5-7 versus a righty, fly out to center. Ted Martinez, see if he can do anything. 2-9 versus a lefty, fly out to left. We need to get a pinch hitter in there for Seaver. We will bring in we're bringing the singles hitter, Jim Beauchamp. See if he can do anything. Down to the last out. Tommy John throwing a gem here. 3-6 versus a lefty. Beauchamp comes through with a single to center field. So now we go to the top of the order. See what Wayne Garrett can do. Dodgers have nobody up in the bullpen. Got one more out to get. 2-4 versus a lefty. Pop out to third base. Tommy John throws a 3-hitter. The Mets lose 2-0 to the Dodgers. Let's take a look at Seaver's stats. Seaver went 9. Gave up 3 hits, 1 home run, 2 runs, 4 walks, 6 Ks. Let's just take a look at Tommy John's stats. 9 innings pitched, 3 hits, no home runs, no runs, no walks, and 3 Ks for the win. Seaver gets the loss, but nice pitcher's duel. 2-0. Dodgers take it. Seaver moves to 7-4, and that'll do it. Thanks for joining.